Hello, this is my first ever video I made about Pillar Chase 2, and probably my first ever video on YouTube. Today I'll give you guys tips on how to play as Springtrap and against them. Most other tips I found on YouTube were either outdated or weren't good enough, so I decided to make one myself, since I am a Springtrap main. Please don't kill me. Anyways, without further ado, Springtrap is the monster with the highest stamina in the game, which is 120, but his sprint speed is 18, which ties with Vapor as the slowest monster in the game, except Zombie. However, his two abilities help him a lot when it comes to chasing survivors. His first ability is Ventilation Error. When activated, it makes Springtrap spaz out of control, lighting survivors from time to time and make them breathe heavy. This ability also regenerates Springtrap's stamina and increases his sprint speed by 21 during Ventilation Error. The cooldown is 15 seconds, making it pretty viable for chases. The second ability is Phantom Walk. When used, Springtrap will become idle for a few moments before gaining a massive speed boost and darkens his vision, but that's compensated by highlighting every survivor on the map. It gives back 15 stamina on use and has a 0.2 seconds of end lag after exiting it. You can also exit out of it manually by pressing the ability again. If Springtrap makes contact with a player during the Phantom Walk, it puts a debuff on them called Fearful. Players with Fearful take 35 extra damage from any monster, making Springtrap a 2-hit monster instead of 3-hit, and you can see it behind walls. Springtrap is the type of monster to rely on his abilities to catch up to survivors, which isn't good for a monster, but he has some nice bonuses as well. His attack speed is pretty fast, and his range is decently good, meaning he can usually get a hit before the survivors start skedaddling away from the furry. His walk speed is the fastest, being 12, which helps him manage his stamina in close distance on a non-sprinting survivor. Usually you want to save up your abilities when the survivors try to make distance from you, or when you are really close to a survivor. When you got the first hit, use Ventilation Error and hitting again, putting them in a bone break, which results in a kill. As for Phantom Walk, you can use it after getting your first hit, so you can approach him and activate his passive, killing them in 2 hits. If you're getting looped, hit the survivor Ventilation Error if you can, and run the opposite direction. Since you pressure the survivor into running to the nearest route, you can easily get a shortcut, making them waste their stamina, resulting in an easy kill. Although it is map dependent, it's still possible on some maps. He has a voice line which plays when he is low on stamina, which is a big sigh, alerting the players that he is low on stamina, which makes them run away. Manage your stamina, like how players also manage theirs during chase. If you do, they won't know whenever you're low on stamina or not, pressuring them, letting you close your distance. His skill animation is pretty long, giving survivors time to run away from you, even far away enough that you don't know where they are if you're not using Phantom Walk. Springtrap's lobby-wide potential is pretty weak, but not impossible. You have to save up your abilities for confident players, making it easier for you to kill the rest. Using Ventilation Error speed to your advantage, you can even use it even if you aren't close to a player, covering more ground, and thanks to its 15-second cooldown ability, you can even use it twice when chasing the survivor, making it a near guaranteed kill. Honestly, after the rework on Ventilation Error, they just made him rely even more on his abilities, since they decreased the stamina from 135 to 120 and changed Ventilation Error so it doesn't drain stamina anymore. But if I have to choose which Springtrap I like more, I would say this reworked one. It helps me close distance much easier against survivors, and I can use it a lot more due to the decreased on cooldown. As for tips on how to counter Springtrap, it's pretty simple. If you get hit with the Ventilation Error, you have a few moments to look where you are going, since it doesn't permanently blind players, allowing you to navigate around the map. However, if you are unsure where to go, just keep running forward. The effect persists even after Springtrap is done spazzing out, however, roughly for 11 seconds. If you don't know the map, that's alright. Not many people know it, not even I. As for how you deal with Phantom Walk and Fearful debuff, you have two ways. Either take the Fearful debuff, unless if he exits out early, the ability always lasts for 4 seconds, and the debuff lasts for 17 seconds, giving you some time to regenerate your stamina and make your escape, or just keep running away from him. I suggest the latter option. Thanks to the rework on Ventilation Error, you can manage your stamina against your average Springtrap main, technically any other monster, eventually making enough distance to win chase and escape. But even if he cannot lobby wipe as often, if he is persistent against you, he will always kill you one way or another. Trust me, I tried avoiding them so much, they still kill me. Make sure you don't encounter Springtrap early. You can avoid making contact with him since he is pretty loud, and Ventilationer makes him even louder. You can always run the opposite direction before Springtrap even sees you, or you are far away that Springtrap cannot reach you, and goes to the nearest player nearby him. One thing to worry about him is try not to get ambushed by him when he's using Phantom Walk, since he's decently quiet and barely visible to the eye of the survivor if you don't have the clarity buff or a flashlight. If you do get ambushed, take the Fearful debuff and run as far away as possible away from him. Unless he's using Ventilation Error, then you have a small chance of surviving. If I have to rate Springtrap's power from F to S tier, I would say he is a low A tier monster. Even if they made him rely more on his abilities. New Vent Error is not as annoying to go against. It's still annoying, but has a bit more counterplay to it. Although for more experienced Springtrap players, it is a lot better than old Vent Error in my opinion. Before the rework, he was like a C or low B tier to me. I know that he deserved to go higher, like high S tier, because of how overpowered Ventilation Error was, but really, Springtrap wasn't good. He had the overpowered Vent Error, sure, but that's it. He also had a 20-second cooldown on top of it, making it even more unreliable. Not to mention, he didn't even increase his speed or regenerate his stamina. Even Fearful debuff wasn't that good. It only lasted for 14 seconds back then, although I'm not sure if that's confirmed. And for Phantom Walk, it had actual end lag, making the survivor cover even more distance. I heard that Springtrap might get a third rework, but I have no idea if that's confirmed or not. Anyways, I hope those tips are gonna be useful for you next time you face that rotten green costume of a furry.